Hi guys, my name is Maya. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are drinking matcha and we are talking about my ins and outs for this year. I'm going to go into trend predictions and also things that are like personally ins and outs for me spiritually in my lifestyle. And I get really excited about trends and really excited about a lot of different things. So keep watching if that sounds good to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And at the end, I'm going to get you to comment down below something. So enjoy the video and I'll see you at the end. Okay, I'm going to start with my fashion ins. These are kind of things that I predict and also want to sort of come into fashion this year. I've kind of dressed the part for my fashion and beauty predictions for ins this year. I feel like I'm giving a lecture about something so unserious. Obviously, boho chic is coming back. I think a lot of us have seen and heard of this. I'm picturing a lot of lace, suede, fringe in replacement of the sort of corporate chic. I feel like in general, we're entering a lot more of a dressed down sort of era in terms of fashion. I think it's going to be looser. I think it's going to be more fun. I think it's going to be a little bit more experimental and referential to like 2016 Arctic Monkeys grunge and boho chic, Alexa Chung vibes. Another prediction that, I mean, is it really a prediction? I've already been saying it. I can't really say prediction, but polka dots and more of the other side of that, like 2016, 2015 style, which is very much like that twee that was, I think, Zooey Deschanel is probably like best known for. I think that is going to be explored to an edgier degree, maybe like polka dots, like a polka dot blouse with like a leather jacket, mini shorts, and like high-rise boots or something like that. I'm personally really excited for 2025 fashion because I think we're getting a little bit darker with everything in a way that feels quite like fresh. And I think with a lot of these, it's obviously like the Pinterest fashion girly kind of vibe. I don't know how much of this is going to trickle down to actual people living their lives. I think maybe polka dots will, and maybe some of the other patterns that I'm going to get into. We'll see though. I think athleisure is always going to be like one of the main things that people like dress in, but I'm really talking about like fashion, like dressing up. My next in is very traditional patterns, and this kind of plays into the polka dots, but also stripes, which we've obviously seen for like a couple of years, but I think they're going to be slightly different stripes. I think they're going to be more like, they're going to be less, what's the word, like uniform, and I think they're also going to be less polished. Plaid, I think, is obviously going to be huge. I love this plaid dress so much. The next thing is more of like a personal in and something that I've been trying to practice for a few years now, but it's real materials. Making sure that you are checking the composition of the things that you are buying, because sometimes it seems like it would be intuitive. You're like, oh, that's obviously cotton. Come to find out it's like a viscose something or other. There's so many reasons why we should be looking for real materials in our clothing. First of all, sometimes the price of things does not match up to the composition. This is like one of my pet peeves. I'll see a dress online and it'll be like $300 plus and it's polyester, and I just feel like it's a huge red flag. I think there's a time and place for synthetic fibers. There are some like wool and acrylic blend sweaters that I've had for years, and sometimes the acrylic does actually help the sweater keep its shape, but I think it's just good to know what you're buying. And nowadays, even the brands that market themselves as sustainable and like their branding kind of makes you feel like obviously it would be cotton or a wool or a merino or something like that. Check the composition. A huge in is, in general, I think conscious shopping. It's just crazy like what some of these brands are getting away with selling for such exorbitant prices and they're not even real materials. And I think that a lot of people are catching on to this. And I think that hopefully as we vote with our money for real materials, that will hopefully begin to change. Okay, now this is my Roman Empire. I have always loved predicting like the new fave color, like a color of the year. Pantone said that 2025 is Mocha Mousse, which is this color up here, which I think is delicious, beautiful, fantastic. But I think in the next 2 years, we're going to see a huge boom of like an eggplant or aubergine purple, like a dark, rich purple. And I think this because I kind of use myself as an experiment with a lot of trends. I'm like, does this feel like it's ready to come to the forefront of my mind yet? And I've kind of like, I think everyone hates purple. And I think that is also how a lot of people felt about red before that became really popular. And so I'm just like, I know purple is going to have its moment. Anyone who knows me knows that I feel this way about colors and just trend predictions in general. I think purple is going to be the next pop of color in terms of like, you know how we had the cobalt blue and then we had like cherry red, kind of turned into like a burgundy. And I think like that rich purple is going to feel so fresh because it has been so demonized in fashion for years that it's kind of one of the colors that's like going to feel really fun and fresh. I can see it in a boot, like a really dark purple in a boot, in like a handbag. Like I can see it working really well with leather goods. I can see it working well with knitwear. And I also feel like purple is actually a color that looks good on a lot of different skin tones, depths, types, and undertones. So I don't know if that's a 2025. I think it's going to take people a little bit longer to stop feeling like disgust about purple, but it's coming. And I also think in this year is mixing really grungy, icky colors with like powder colors. So like that really rich, deep purple with like a powder pink, or like a mucky, icky green with like a powder blue. I think that is going to be really cool. And in general, I think color is becoming a lot more of like a statement. I think black won't be the sort of base of outfits for the fashion girlies in 2025. Okay, getting into makeup. I did my makeup kind of on theme. I don't think you can really see. Okay, this is something I feel very passionately about for whatever reason. I think in is wearing more noticeable makeup, having fun with makeup, wearing glitter. It doesn't need to be so serious. It doesn't need to look like you're not wearing makeup, although I still love that look and I will do that every day. But I think in general, online and possibly in real life in 2025, it's going to be very in to wear quite noticeable, experimental, glittery sort of makeup. I also feel like the pink blushy cheek, like the Sabrina Carpenter vibe, is sort of going to be replaced by like browns and beiges and also orange. I can see orange blush becoming a lot more of a thing, or just even like a bronzer as a blush, because I feel like that's very reminiscent of like 2010s or early 2000s and 2010s vibe. Is like that very orangey cheek that's quite strong and pronounced, and I actually think it looks quite flattering on people, especially with like a dark smoky eye. There's something about that really like takes me back and makes me feel some kind of way. Okay, I also feel like matte finishes are coming back in, a bold matte lipstick, more of a matte finish on the face. The glowiness might be replaced by the glitter. I don't know. That's into me. And I also feel like bare skin and like letting your skin really breathe, not having like foundation on. I don't think that's where the heaviness of makeup's going to come. I think it's going to be more like fun with the eyes and the lips. And I also think people are going to start embracing things like acne and scarring and blemishes more. Like I just feel like objectively they're just a few spots on your face, and I think people are going to start rocking that a little bit more, like not really trying to touch up their face but still going for a full smoky eye. I think that would just be so like delicious, and I actually think it gives, like from an art perspective, like texture and nuance as well. Like I think that actually would look really pretty. Now we're going to move to more of like my lifestyle / spiritual ends for 2025. These are like less predictions, more just like what I feel like is really in for my personal life. Maybe it resonates with you as well. The first one is sleeping in. I've always been like such a person who it really pains me to waste time or to slow down. And I think at the end of last year, I was sort of starting to learn that not everything has to be rushed. And I think that for me kind of manifested itself in sleeping in and enjoying sleeping in. Like I have the flexibility to do that, so why wouldn't I enjoy it? Nothing else in my life is suffering from sleeping in. I'm not finishing my work. It's not bad for my health. It's so good to get just like so much sleep and to sleep in. You could also do it the opposite way and go to sleep early. I think just lots of sleep is so in. I think our brains take in so much information, and to just recharge and to take things slow is really, really a nice sort of idea. Okay, I need to get more comfy. Something I started doing last year that I really want to keep bringing into this year. I'm not perfect at it, but not checking my phone, literally not turning on the function of it at all until I'm ready. And it kind of like struck me one day. I think I was like checking my phone in bed and I'd received like an invoice for my business. And I'm like, I can't be doing all of this to my brain as soon as I wake up, which like everyone knows this. We are always told like don't go on your phone in the morning, but truly. And I think the prompt of like getting ready is really great for me too. Like I'll go for a walk, have a shower, usually read the Bible, which I'll get into. And then I'll brush my hair. If I'm not doing makeup, I won't do my makeup, but if I am, I do that. And then I check my phone. It makes me feel prepared for the information that I'm about to receive. And I think in general, something that's in 2025 is being serious about our usage of our phones and our screen time and actually taking that shiz serious. Gosh, a lot of these are like really obvious, but sometimes I think we need the reminder is to FaceTime people that you can't see. Arrange like a time and a date and be like, I'm going to call you next week. And with that, also arranging IRL catch-ups. And I know some people won't relate to that, and some people will. Like I find it can be daunting to catch up with people, depending obviously. But I am trying to make a real effort this year to also make fun activities and things like that I can do with people to make moments really memorable. Next is potentially controversial. I love reading the Bible every single day. That is so in. That is so hot girl to me this year. I started reading the Bible when I wasn't even really identifying myself as Christian, and I've always been into self-help books, spirituality, all of that stuff, but I have just found so much knowledge and wisdom and peace in the Bible. And if you've ever been curious about what's in there, I would just honestly seek it out because it's very interesting. For me, I love history and I love anything like that, and the Bible's full of that, and it's full of very compelling like stories, and just it's so interesting to me. And I think anything that makes you feel that way, I think why not do it every day? And something else that I've been thinking a lot about recently is I think that something that's very in is discipline. I think it's really fun to give yourself projects and challenges, and that could be wherever is like a sore point you feel in your life right now, whether that's you feel like you need more spiritual guidance. That could be reading something like the Bible. It could be you feel like you're not doing enough for your health, giving yourself a challenge to walk like 4 days a week and starting small. But I think that discipline is so good for building your confidence in yourself. Like I love achieving those things. This month I'm doing a no buy, so I'm not buying anything new. It can only be like basically necessity, and I'm only literally a few days into that. It's like the 7th of January when I'm recording this, And it's already been really beneficial for me to have that sort of detox. And sometimes you just need a reset. I think that YouTube is very in. I think that in general, long form content that's not super duper edited, it's very in. I'm so exhausted from short-term content. I think I'm going to try rapid fire because I haven't even gotten to my outs yet, which is significantly smaller. Cooking and baking things from scratch. Just learning those skills and honing those skills. If you're someone that's like, I've always wanted to like learn how to bake a pastry or try pottery. I always get that because I do pottery. Everyone's like, oh, that must be so fun. I've always wanted to do it. Book it in. Book out a day. Learn how, like, start the croissant recipe. It's going to take you a while. Like, just please, for the love of G, please just do it. I think that must be so frustrating to have something always in the back of your mind that you've wanted to try and you won't do it. But sorry, when's your next free day? Like, book a pottery workshop, book a cooking workshop, please. Like, please, it's such a good use of your money to do something you've been wanting to do. Whole food meals, I've been loving this. Like, I don't need to be making a full on like meal every night in terms of like, oh, I'm making a curry, I'm making a pasta, I'm making a stew. Like, I've just been eating like roast vegetables with cabbage, with meat, with like an avocado. Like, I've just been loving that for dinner lately, so that's very in. Obviously matcha is extremely in, and I think it'll be in for life for me as a previous coffee addict. I love matcha. It doesn't make me too anxious. I'm just like, this next one I feel like is another sort of thing to push ourselves, but being generous beyond what you think you're capable of being generous with. I think that we've lost so much of like our generosity and our open-heartedness in helping other people. Other people are not an inconvenience to you. We need other people, and I think this year I want to be there for people a lot more than I have been, because I've always sort of been taught like to look after yourself first, like be on guard, people will take advantage of you. And maybe that's true, but I want to be someone who has faith in people and gives to people how I want to be given to. Classical music is in, especially because I think my brain is so tired sometimes of podcasts. Classical music is just something that really makes me lock in, especially when I'm working. It makes me feel calm. I don't feel like I need to really listen. It's such a nice break for my brain to listen to classical music. And also I just want to try and practice more silence in my routine as well. Childlike excitement is in, and not being afraid to look silly, aka me with my Jellycat addiction. I think small businesses are in. I think we might have lost that sort of like messaging around how important it is to support small business. I think it was huge during COVID, and then it sort of has disappeared. So many small businesses are shutting down. If you want to, support small businesses. That is so in for 2025. And then lastly, buying less but better quality. That speaks for itself. Okay, let's quickly go through the outs. I feel like this is more negative. I think crop tops, unfortunately, are out. I just haven't been seeing them very much, and I think with the low-waisted jeans, obviously like the longer t-shirts are kind of like a vibe. I think skirts and dresses with chunky sneakers is sort of out, in my opinion. I think small bags, and especially designer bags, are kind of out. I'm feeling like a very hobo, large, rugged, sort of vintagey looking bag, or a bucket bag, is very in for 2025. Like I mentioned before, I think pinks are in makeup in terms of like the cheek are sort of out. Sparse laminated brows I think are going to be out. I think we're going to see more definition. Something that is so out is caring what people think of you. I think it's true what they say about just getting older. I just care so much less and less every year about what people think of me, which is fantastic. I feel so much less burdened. I know it's easier said than done, and I think to an extent you do need to care about what people think about you, but not people who you can tell are picking on you because they're jealous or because they're like uncomfortable with your success. I think that is very out. In that same vein, dimming your light is out. I think a lot of the time I've felt around people that I need to not tell them about my accomplishments, or when a dream comes true, or when a goal comes true, I think I want to really surround myself with people who feel really comfortable and happy receiving that information. Selfishness, perfectionism is out. Doom scrolling and following the wrong people. And I think, to go back a little bit, a huge in is just knowing yourself. And if you're going down a social media spiral over some influencer you follow and you just want to check about how perfect they are, to low-key make yourself feel terrible, that is so out. I think protecting yourself and being your biggest cheerleader in terms of like, babes, we don't need to be looking at that right now. Out is trying to go against your menstrual cycle and doing things too strenuous when you're in your literal phase. Out. Stress is out. I think playing it cool is out. I think it's not just so in to be earnest and kind. Overthinking, bye. Like literally this year, bye. Bye. We're not overthinking. You can stop the thoughts as they're happening. We're not doing that. Being a control freak. You guys know. Some of you out there are control freaks. We need to stop. We're not in control of everything. We need to learn to receive, learn to relax, and learn to let things happen to us sometimes. And the last out is long movies. That officially concludes my ins and outs for 2025. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Let me know if you like this kind of video. I also would love to hear one in and one out from you that you just feel like personally this year you are going to conquer. I really hope that you've had just the loveliest start to this year, and I'll hopefully see you soon in a new video or a new vlog.